Hey everybody, it's Gamer Gramps here. Today we're going to be watching the Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred inside the game, new region and new game features video they just put out. It's 8 minutes long. I know, you might be looking at the screen asking yourself, Gramps, if we're fucking reacting to this video, why are we at the end of it? Well, that's because I'm a clown and I forgot to click record on the recording software. So this is round two, take two. We're going to get through this. If you can't tell, I'm stoked, and you should be too. Definitely watch this. If you don't want to listen to me ramble about it, watch it by yourself. Personally, have not pre-purchased yet. This convinced me I'm going to. I was always going to get the game. I'm a Diablo fanboy. I've been playing since the first game. I was automatically going to get it for the storyline. I hadn't planned on pre-purchasing because I really don't care about the cosmetic crap that much. Anyway, let's get into it. Right away, I'm just hooked right in. The freaking atmosphere and the music. Here we go.
In Vessel of Hatred, we travel south to Nahantu, a region with both deep ancient jungles and vast sprawling plains. It's the last stretch of land in Sanctuary's eastern continent, and we've packed it full of experiences for every type of player. In this expansion, there's a whole lot to explore under the dark canopy of Nahantu.
They cover quite a bit in this video, by the way. I'm obviously not going to be jumping in as much as I did the first time because I've seen it. Just buckle up.
Nahantu is the southernmost region of the eastern continent that Diablo 4 has been taking place in. It's the last region that we haven't visited yet so far.
I know I'm late to the party. This cinematic, when it first came out, holy shit. Did it hit you the same way that it hit me? It was just spectacular. I mean, you can shit on Blizzard all you want, and I won't defend them. I don't care. If you fucking shit on their cinematics or their art direction, then we're going to have words. How can you look at this and not just be drawn in and amazed?
Far in the game, but it is one that we've been to before in Diablo.
There's lots of new areas. We have 6 in total. 4 of them are jungle themed, and then we have 2 that are Red Rock Canyon, but each one of them has their own unique identity. When you first arrive in Nahantu, you're in this place called Lingering Hatred. This is high treetops canopies where you're almost walking them.
See, 100% I agree. Like, you're just immediately drawn in. Like, I feel like I'm in the fucking jungle right now. I cannot wait to play this and actually physically be moving a character inside this jungle.
Amongst the branches high above the jungle floor.
Imagine a thick canopy that the light is just barely poking through.
The whole area has been infected by this thing called the Hollows infestation. The Hollows are a new enemy that's...
This just looks freaking sweet to me. Like his fucking guts hanging out like that. And it blends into his little freaking outfit. See, it's not the art direction that I've been worried about. It's the freaking mechanics of like the bosses and stuff. I'm personally not a huge fan of PoE. Like, I don't even like PoE 1. And it's not because of the complexity. It's not like I love that. That's what I like about it. That's what makes me want to try it again. I'm not here to talk about PoE, but just specifically the boss design in PoE is leaps and bounds better than Diablo ever has been. Like, any Diablo fight does not even compare to half the fucking boss encounters in PoE original, let alone what's coming in the PoE 2 that's coming up in November now. Personally, in the playing the beta for Diablo 4, like the first time we fought Ashava, but we had the like level 25 cap, and then even better at the level 20 cap when it's harder. I was so ecstatic because that is a well-designed boss encounter when you're level 20, not so much when you're anything above that and it's just a fucking pincushion. Like, first it was just like a loot pinata, and now they changed it where it's like a pincushion. If you can't get killed, what's the fucking point? What's the point of me dodging any of the attacks and not just sitting there fucking clubbing him to death when it can't do any damage to you as long as you build your character half decently? I don't care. I'm a casual Andy player. You have to be pretty fucking stupid not to be able to put together character. It bugs me beyond belief that they're playing to the fucking bottom of the pool. You know what I mean? I'm not some godly gamer by any means. And if I'm irritated about this, I can just imagine that the majority of the community must feel the same way.
It's associated with Mephisto. They themselves are kind of like a tar-like substance creature born...
This one looks really cool. Like I said, but I hope it has a nice attack mechanic and stuff like that. Time will tell, I guess.
Straight out of the depths of hell.
It feels a little twisted. There's a sickness to the area itself.
Humans have ventured into this deep part of the jungle.
That looks fucking cool right there. Like I said, their art direction here, oh, it's just mwah. couldn't say more. It's whether or not the mechanics will meet the art direction or even come close.
Jungle where there's all this poisonous plants and flora. The dregs actually started experimenting with eating these hallucinogens, and it put them into this aggressive psycho rage.
The dregs were pretty fun because we were able to push more variety in the monster family. You have one of these tall dregs and then half of a body of another dreg on top of it.
These look really cool. And then on top of it, it totally reminds me, like nostalgia-wise, of Diablo 2. When you're in the jungle and those little nymph things, whatever they were called, where the one would stand on top of the other and they'd fucking blow the flamethrower at you, Inferno or whatever it was called.
It kind of controlling it and telling it where to go and tossing poisonous bombs at the player. When you come across it, it's very memorable.
And then we've also got the area of Tenganse, where you've got the Tenganse Plateau, which is full of these red rocked plateaus and canyons.
Just beautiful. They nailed it. I have terrain like this fairly close to where I live. Not that close. But anyways, I've been to places that have terrain like this, and it brings me back to being in a freaking canyon like this.
Imagine getting up above the land. Those gigantic walls have
Just mwah, chef's kiss.
pockets inside where monsters could live. It offered up a lot of opportunity to bring back a monster family like the Lacunae.
Now there's a blast from the past.
Bringing them back in a new way here is a fully fleshed out monster family with multiple classes.
What a more brute force looks like, what a caster looks like. They are very much apex predators, and we're definitely in their territory. And then there's a little sub-area called the Skittering Earth.
The name alone makes your skin crawl.
And it's bug infested, and you can see how the bugs have destroyed the jungles and kind of input their influence on it. Within the Field of Giants, you have these giant corpses of these long dead demons that humans have begun to mine
That's cool, like that prehistoric freaking bone structure.
away at for their resources. While they've got a lot of use out of them, they're also toxic to the land around it.
The notion of massive demons walking sanctuary 1,000 years ago is really thought-provoking.
Plateau's also got just this
I like the look of these rhinos.
beautiful color scheme to the lighting. It's really lovely to be there. And then horrific at the same time, you know, it's great.
Okay, here we go. Again, this is in hindsight, right? I'll say what I said the first time and we'll talk about it after. So my biggest concern heading into this, I don't know if you saw the video or not, but when I watched the little teaser trailer yesterday, I did like my thoughts on it, early impressions kind of thing. Anyway, so in Diablo 2, your mercenary was basically a walking aura, which I was happy with. Worked perfectly once they added in the rune words and stuff and all that. Great. Diablo 3, they turned them into invincible stat sticks where basically they would just give you buffs like to your damage and whatnot and damage reduction, that kind of thing. Again, completely happy with both of those directions. They hit the nail on the head. They accomplished their job. When I watched the trailer yesterday, it seems like they're going in a completely different direction this time around for Diablo 4, where they want them to be functional killers of enemies. And that's what scares me, because I'm scared they're not going to be able to effectively do their job. Just look at Season of the Construct. They were supposed to be like the Seneschals or whatever the fuck they were called. We're supposed to be this big, bad, great companion that was wonderful. And look at the launch. It was just dog shit until like they figured it out later in the season. And that's what I'm worried about heading into the expansion, that I'm going to have to wait for like 3 or 6 months before they get the feedback from the community and make these things actually like useful. So yeah, that's how I felt going into this. Now let's listen to what they have to say.
The mercenaries in Vessel of Hatred are a group of people who we like to describe as ordinary people with extraordinary skills. They have the same level of will to fight against the demons of hell.
And there's 4 mercs that you can collect over the course of the campaign. Starts with Rahir, a blacksmith and a shield bearer, is a more defensive fighter.
He's able to go in there and soak up damage, use his shield as a bulwark against the enemy.
You meet him early on in the campaign, and he's one who introduced.
See, this actually excites me a little bit because I'm a big lore guy. Like, I love the campaign of Diablo 4. I thought that was by far the best one in the franchise. I mean, other than that, it was clearly Diablo 2. But that being said, I still think Diablo 4 actually holds the throne at the moment. And so when you hear him say, like, oh, he's available at the beginning, and then he says it again here, like, oh, you pick him up very on at the beginning of the campaign. Or sorry, my bad. So when he said that, like, sorry, when he said that throughout the campaign, there's 4 different mercenaries that you can acquire as you go. And then he says, this is the first one at the beginning of the campaign. The fact that there's 3 more to unlock throughout a campaign actually gives me hope, because I was expecting like it to be one act and very short. And like, I realize we're in one region, but now the way he says this makes me think that there's going to be a lot more to the story than I was expecting. Like, I was expecting a quick, like 5 or 10 hour storyline, and then that's that, you're in the region. But maybe I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting excited and reading this wrong. What do you think?
Introduces you to the mercenary network. You end up finding acquisition quests for 3 other mercs that you can find throughout the course of the story.
Subo, the drunken archer, is gonna
Like, I just literally laughed again. I almost spit out my drink. But Subo the drunken, how could they not have nailed that any better? Like, that is Subo the drunken archer. He's going to be my guy until I get to the demon.
Going to work really well for people who want someone who's out of the main melee, in the back, offering utility and that kind of range support.
Then we have Variana, a berserker crone, who's a melee combat fighter, close range. She's got a really cool combat meter, a massacre meter, where you need to keep killing enemies to get the meter to be filled.
She's got a bunch of really interesting utility skills that you can kind of build in.
Finally, we have the demon child, Aldkin, who's a magic.
This is the one I'm excited about, Aldkin, because I don't know if you play Baldur's Gate 3 or not. This little guy reminds me of I was just about to say the druid, but sorry. It reminds me of the tiefling inside the druid grove, like Moss, I think her name is, the one who runs the little thieves guild. That's who it reminds me of. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing with him.
Magic user who can transform himself from human form to demon form and join you in combat.
There's this really great reinforcement ability where you can take one of the
See, and this is where I started to actually look forward to it, because they're gonna get into it right here.
mercenary skills and attach it to one of your powers so that when you use that skill, it calls them in to do a specific skill.
With the mercenaries for Vessel of Hatred, one of the things we are expanding on is the skill tree. For Diablo 3, you had a very basic type of mercenary, but this...
In Diablo 4, we had a very basic skill tree. So it looks like this actually really gives me hope for it, because honestly, the mercenary skill tree looks about as deep as our skill trees are as characters currently right now in Diablo 4, which makes me think that the rework to the skill tree that they're doing is going to be significant. Because, I mean, just think of the memes. If the mercenary skill tree is almost as fucking complex as our own skill trees, like for our characters, like, get the fuck out of here. So this gives me hopes. Like, this gives me hope. And fingers crossed, I'm not just building myself up to be let down.
This time you can actually push a little bit more into the skill tree and make the mercenary the way you would want to play.
Going through each mercenary progression arc and outfitting their skill tree so that it's complementary.
Yeah, like 100%, I'm going to go back and literally pause this frame by frame at another point and look at all this stuff. So let me know if you're interested in watching a video like that. Let me know and I'll make it. But otherwise, I'll just nerd out myself and freaking look through it. But I really want to check out what skills they have, and especially the demon kid.
To your character build, I think that's where the fun in the mercenary system really lies.
The Dark Citadel is a new endgame feature.
Ooh, do you hear that music? Tell me it does not just bring you right in. It sets the tone perfectly.
That's coming in Vessel of Hatred. It's an entirely cooperative.
Like, I feel like I'm fucking in Jaws right now. Dun, dun. Anyway, I'll shut up and let them keep going.
Player experience. All the mechanics within it are based around you working together with your party members to solve the challenges and face the first Khazra hordes within.
One of the outcomes of the Mage Wars is this giant crater and all the souls that were kind of lost in it from those wars.
The goal of the first Khazra, who are kind of the original Khazra, They're using the powers within the citadel found within this crater to perform experiments to try and bring back their dark god.
Only recently, people have started going missing. They head into the Gaza region, they disappear, never to be seen again. So it's clear that whatever they're planning is about to come to fruition, and your job as the players to get in there and stop it.
Citadels are a place where we take what is the best part of Diablo, combat, and we test it in a different way, which is adding in cooperative mechanics that you have to manage on top of that.
For example, a boss has an attack, and as a player, you have to collect an item that allows you to reflect the attack back at him. So there's a little bit of a Twitch level mechanic there where you actually have to time your reaction shot. What's interesting about it is when you get multiple people in there, we're each responsible for reflecting that shot once, so we all have to sort of master the timing of that move.
Again, I'm trying not to be negative, so I'm just going to hold back my opinion until I actually play it, because this does not, like, this guy's excited about it clearly. This does not look that impressive to me. They really need to fucking fork out some money and poach the people who are working at GGG. Like, there's no comparison. The boss mechanics in PoE 1, which I'm not even a fan of, are way better than this. And this is a huge letdown. After seeing all the trailers coming out for PoE 2, this is their big, grand, big fucking boss design. I don't know. Anyway.
You can't do that kind of thing without coordinating as a team, and that's sort of the example of what Citadel gameplay feels like.
When designing the Citadel, we designed a lot of really cool bosses. And so one of the things that we did is we took...
Well, they sure look cool. I'll give you that much. Whether they're going to be cool to fight, the verdict's out. Or the jury's out.
that design and made like armor sets for each of the classes. That way you feel like you took their armor and you feel like you're wearing a little bit of them after your victory.
We also have a currency that's dedicated to the Citadel where, as you play through, a vendor can be interacted with to buy custom cosmetics that are unique to the Citadel.
That's a round of applause from me to you, Blizzard. Way to pick the low-hanging fruit and get an easy win for yourselves. This will go over so well for the community. Can't say enough. You should have been doing this from the beginning, but better late than never, I guess.
You can play with 2 people, but the ideal experience is for 4. In order to facilitate that, we've built an all-new Party Finder feature, and the community has been pretty vocal about wanting this for a long time. It made...
Yeah, it should have been in the fucking base game. Don't even get me started. I'm not going to go off on a rant here, but yeah, like, it's a clown show that wasn't in your base game to begin with. And if you're like toting it as some big fucking supreme feature, you shouldn't be. It should be like, hey, we fucked up. We should have had this to begin with. We're sorry. We're finally giving it to you. Hopefully it's not a complete shit show. But with that being said, if they're putting this into the game and there's not a solo self-found in fucking the expansion on release in October, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. Because, like, seriously, there's no reason for there not to be. None. Like, you fucking have it in Diablo 3. Like, let's get with the program here, guys. You're the fucking big boy in the game industry. GGG is supposed to be just this little independent studio that freaking sprung up. They should not be embarrassing you when you're supposed to be the industry leader. And Diablo has been the industry leader, and they're not anymore.
It made a lot of sense to us to pair it with this new Citadel mode.
It really is an activity that's geared towards people who love to play together with their friends or with strangers and enjoy that cooperative gameplay. I cannot wait for players to get into the world. I'm really just excited for people to see all the little hidden storytelling elements that the team has fit in.
There's interesting things to find and see and discover around every corner, and it's just a really great experience getting to explore Nahantu.
It really does look like it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they sold me, this is it. Like, I will pre-order, and I'll finally get to ride around on a jaguar or whatever the fuck that animal was. Anyway, so there you go. I'm not one to tell you how to spend your money, but I'm sure gonna give them mine. Anyway, if you haven't already, please do me a favor and leave a like on that video. It really goes a long way towards helping the channel out. And clearly, if you can't tell by now, I'm special and need all the help I can get. If you have a minute of time, I'll put a link to the video. If you want to pop over and give them a like too, that would be swell. But I'm not holding a gun to your head. I'm just going to shut up now, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.